Have you ever stood in the middle of a crowded room and felt like the ground beneath your feet was about to disappear? Not because someone said something. Not because anything happened. But because inside you, there's a crack. Invisible to everyone else. And everything you've been building suddenly starts to collapse, crumble, fall apart. That's how stories begin when everything goes off plan. I remember once preparing for a trip. I had a precise itinerary. Day 1, arrival. Day 2, a presentation. Day 3, negotiations. Day 4, return home with a sense of victory. I memorized every name, rehearsed my speech, even bought a new shirt that was supposed to boost my confidence. And there I was, standing at the airport, when they announced my flight was cancelled. Not postponed. Cancelled. Permanently. Due to weather in one hemisphere and a pilot strike in another. And as I stood there with a ticket that had turned into a scrap of paper, and a plan that had just gone up in smoke, I realized everything I thought was solid was an illusion. That feeling, when everything goes off track, at first, it disorients you. You kind of fall into yourself. You start asking, why me? Why now? What did I do wrong? Or maybe the point is this: life is not a spreadsheet. It's not a checklist. And it's not a perfectly planned journey. It's more like a road with no signs, where every turn is a surprise. A friend of mine, for example, planned his wedding for 2 years. Meticulously. Every flower was chosen, every song timed to the second. 2 days before the ceremony, it turned out his fiancée couldn't fly in. Her passport had expired, and she was abroad. Panic. Guests panicked. Parents borderline heart attacks. Know what he did? Held the wedding. Alone. Yes, with the orchestra, the dancing, all the rituals. Just no bride. Not because he's crazy, but because he realized either he goes mad, or he turns the disaster into a kind of cleansing ritual. When she arrived, a week later, they held another wedding. Completely spontaneous. No floral plan. No schedule. And it was the best week of their lives. I'm not trying to say we should rejoice in failure. No. When plans fall apart, it hurts. You feel the ground shake, and every "I know how this will go" vanishes into thin air. But in that pain, there's a strange kind of power. Like someone whispering to you, now, do it for real. Not how you wanted, but how it's meant to be. The most unexpected turn in my life came when I lost my job. Completely. Zero. I remember the day they handed me the envelope and said, "Thanks for everything, but this is where we part ways." I sat at a cafe window, not knowing who to call. And in that moment, when everything fell apart, someone from my past walked in and said, "Didn't you always want to start a podcast? You've got everything now: time, experience, and a void to fill." And you know what? He was right. That's how this podcast started. It wasn't planned. It was born from emptiness. From rubble. From silence, when nothing was going right. Then people started coming. Writing. Sharing. Someone told me how they lost everything in crypto and moved to a small village. Someone quit a career of 20 years to draw comics. Someone left the love of their life and, a year later, found their calling in therapy. These stories, like patterns on shattered glass. Beautiful, if you look close enough. And every time I hear, "I failed," I ask, what did you find in that failure? Sometimes the answer is silence. Sometimes, tears. Sometimes, laughter. But always, truth. Because in the chaos, in the ruins, in the debris, we are real. Sometimes I think the universe is a giant conductor who loves off-key notes. It's not interested in perfect symphonies. It wants to hear how we stumble, how we find rhythm again, how we learn to dance in the dark. So if you're sitting right now with shattered plans, if it feels like everything's going wrong, congratulations. You're alive. You're on the road. And maybe, just maybe, what you thought was a disaster is actually just another route. Not the one you wanted, but the one you need. Don't be afraid to lose your way. Be afraid of never getting lost. This was me. This was you. This was all of us. And this is the story of how, when everything goes off plan, the real story begins. Until next time.